Ladies and gentlemen, let's take a look at the Brewmaster Monk. Interesting one coming into this, especially as the amount of people who are getting in contact with us now while we're doing the quick looks, trying to throw their 2 cents into everything. But we're going to take it from our POV, although I have listened to several tanks who kind of want something to happen with Brewmaster, so it's not just always amazingly good. And being realistically the most recent tank to have joined the game, it was built with the current modern game in mind, where the other tanks were all kind of badgered and hamstrung and had crowbars put into them to try and get them to fit the modern game. The Monk, of course, was built from the ground up. I am, of course, referring to Stagger. Now, some changes here. So, Iron-Skin Brew is gone. It is now replaced with Celestial Brew. Guard. It's pretty much Guard. It needs some work, and it has some nuance to it, using Purifier to boost the Absorb Shield, but it's essentially Guard. They just don't want to call it Guard. Perhaps because Guard has undergone so much change over the since Mr. Pandaria that it's kind of lost its meaning of what it's supposed to be. But it is here. It is here. So you get this massive Absorb Shield, especially if you Purifying Stagger actually increases the absorption by up to 400%. You can get a huge shield out of this, but it has no charges, and it doesn't seem to, from what I could tell in my gameplay, it doesn't do anything with any of the talents that actually change how brews work in terms of reducing cooldowns and things like that. So Celestial Brew has a 30-second cooldown. It just always seems to have a 30-second cooldown from what I can tell, which kind of makes any of the talents that involve reducing brews kind of needless, honestly, because they're really only affecting Purifying Brew now. That's kind of it, and Fortifying Brew. So it'd be interesting to see whether that's an oversight or a bug. I don't know. Touch of Death is here, and it is now finally working. My God, we wanted to hold back on the Monk videos until Touch of Death was working, because it wouldn't represent their damage properly. However, they also disabled damage meters at the exact same time. So, know that it feels good. It's good to have that Touch of Death back, and I put this in nearly every tank video, is going out and questing and leveling as Brewmaster is really fun. It is very, very fun, because the DPS rotation is very much constant. It's very inactive, especially if you take something like Spitfire, where your Breath of Fire has a proc and does more damage and things like that. That makes it really, really fun. In terms of most of the talents, nothing great there. I would like Exploding Keg. This is my personal thing. A lot of people don't really care, but I think Exploding Keg should be a baseline ability. There are several times when you're running into packs, and although Keg Smash obviously does a giant wave, it's nice to be able to throw things at one side of the pack, especially if they're really far away. We do have an example of that in the new dungeon, where 2 ads spawn very, very far away, and you want to throw something at them just to get initial aggro. Or you can also Keg Smash and obviously roll over to there. That's fine, but it's nice to be able to throw something in. I always liked the Exploding Keg animation in its various forms over the years, and I certainly would like that back. Shuffle is back. Now, it's tied to abilities that you already use, like Blackout Kick, right? Like, it doesn't mean anything to have Shuffle back. The only way you could fail Shuffle, really, is to not use your attacks, because it's just in there. It's just in there, and I don't get it. It's not fun as far as I'm concerned. It's really not fun to have something that is supposedly a defensive ability. So Shuffle is granted by attacking enemies with your Keg Smash, Blackout Kick, and Spinning Crane Kick. Well, I'm going to be doing that anyway, and it's just there. It's just doing something, and I imagine that 99% of players who play Brewmaster won't know it's there. They're certainly probably, unless they're actually going to, if they've not read in the individual changes or watched videos like this, then they're just going to go in and start pressing Blackout Kick and Keg Smash, because that's what you would press, and they're going to have Shuffle up. So what's the point? Like, what's the point? Especially considering a lot of Shadowlands is seemingly based around player skill, and to be fair, there is skill in using Celestial Brew and your Purifying Brews properly, and your Expel Harms and things like that. That is there, 100%. But having something defensive that's entirely passive seems pointless. It'd be, for me, it feels like Shield Slam also causes Shield Block. Well, you're going to play Shield Slam all the time. Like, you're going to play Shield Slam as much as possible. So what's the point? And even in this case, it'd be a case of Shield Slam and Revenge cause Shield Block. Most people aren't going to know it's there, especially if they've taken the button away. So that's kind of a thing I think they could work on in order to get something more interesting tied in there. Healing Spheres do seem to be blocked as well. Now, I have to say, especially after the Warrior video, is that I still felt extremely sturdy playing my Brewmaster. I felt extremely sturdy. It was a really simply good time. It was an overall good time. It's nice to be able to choose between the one-handers and two-handers, although the one-handers do seemingly be bugged right now. That's a little unfortunate. But overall, the Brewmaster is looking A little changed. We have got Clash back. We get it at level 52, so it's nice to be able to play around with Clash again. It doesn't quite close the entire gap. It's no death grip. It's no charge. But we have roll for that as well. But it is nice to be able to move mobs somewhat. But overall, it's still the Brewmaster. How it's going to be defensively in terms of the guys you want to know. What is the best tank for Shadowlands, Mike? That's going to be months down the line. That is literally going to be months away when we start to see balancing and some raid testing and obviously get to play around more at level 60. And we cannot test these in Torghast yet. But we will. We will. I'll see you when we can.